We are just 7 months away from the midterm elections. They'll be upon us very quickly. The Biden White House is in one crisis after another. And yet again today, a key inflation gauge just set another 40-year high. This impacts every single American, every American household, a whopping 6.4% increase. And according to Bloomberg News, the average American family now can expect to spend $5,200 more this year, or $433 more each month on the exact same items they bought 1 year ago. Already, 1 out of every 5 workers in this country is now running out of money before payday. That number is expected to get much worse. And in Biden's economy, it is especially worse and burdensome and a hardship for the poor and the middle class in this country. At the core of these economic woes, record high after record high gas prices. And tonight, the American people just know who to blame. They say, yeah, it's Joe Biden. His policies are the number one cause for the increase in fuel costs, which means that's more to heat and cool our homes and more we pay at every store that we go to. This poll conducted by Quinnipiac. Now, here's a news flash for Democrats ahead of the midterms. American people, guess what? They have figured it out. New Green Deal socialism's not going to work ever. And on the campaign trail, it was your candidate, Joe Biden, vowing to end fossil fuels. This was the predictable result. And during his very first week in office, he banned drilling in ANWR. We have such vast resources. We could have cheap energy for every American. He banned new exploration and auctions on federal lands. He killed the Keystone XL pipeline. The Alberta premier said if they finished it, it would have been done by now. We would have 900,000 barrels of oil a day flowing into this country from Canada. Last month, the administration, they paused all new leases on oil and gas because of climate change. What a surprise. U.S. gas prices predictably are higher than ever. In fact, costs have been rising every single month since Joe Biden took office. Vladimir Putin did not cause that. Joe Biden, New Green Deal radical socialism caused it. But according to him, Vladimir Putin and COVID-19 are to blame for his woes. Well, if it's COVID, why didn't it happen under Trump? Take a look.
The problem we're facing with gas prices has 2 roots. First, the pandemic. When COVID struck, demand for oil plummeted, so production slowed down worldwide. Because of the strength and the speed of our recovery, demand for oil shot back up much faster than the supply. That's why the cost of gas began to rise last year. The second root is Vladimir Putin. The start of this year, gas was about $3.30 a gallon. Today, it's about averaging $4.20, $4.22. It's higher in many states. Nearly $1 more in less than 3 months. And the reason for that is because of Putin's war.
Blame Trump, blame COVID, blame Putin, blame everybody. No, it's your policies, economic and energy policies, Joe, that caused this. And Biden apparently had trouble opening his eyes, squinting into the light. It's kind of like when he whispers or he says, come on, man. What are you, a junkie? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal, endowed by, the thing, the thing. God, the creator of everything. Anyway, and he outlined, by the way, his solutions for the oil and gas crisis he caused. Now, the first is a political ploy that does very little to lower costs and puts our national security at risk. And for the next 6 months, Joe will deplete America's strategic reserves by releasing 1 million barrels of oil a day. That's nothing. This reserve, by the way, is meant for national security emergencies, not for Joe's political advantage going into a midterm, and not for rising gas prices either. It is only a short-term Band-Aid that will do nothing to significantly reduce costs. It doesn't get to the underlying problem, doesn't get to the root cause, and it conveniently expires on Election Day. Moments ago, our very own Chad Program, well, he caught up with the spiritual leader of the Democratic Party's climate alarmist religious cult. That, of course, is the author of the New Green Deal Socialism, and that's Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, to see what she thinks about Biden's new plan. Let's take a look.
And while the president is making a decision to release some strategic reserves to relieve some of the pressure on pricing, I think a lot of these fossil fuel and oil and gas companies also need to do their part. And we have to understand that sometimes it's about taking a smaller profit margin if we're going to be really engaged in all of this together, particularly in the response to Russia.
Should it be refilled after they drain this portion of the sprawl?
You know, I think we need to take a look at the proportion of what is being used, but ultimately we really do need to be investing in renewables.
Here we go, which brings us to Biden's second solution to lower gas prices. He now wants Congress to slap oil and gas companies with fines if they don't drill on already approved federal leases. We've already told you all about this, a terrible plan. We'll give you two reasons why. One, any fine, guess what? That'll get passed on to you, the consumer, which means gas prices will even go higher. And two, oil leases, they are provided pre-exploration. Many and most of these unused leases don't have enough oil or gas that can be extracted. That's why they're not using them. Now, if you think that's bad, Biden's next solution, well, to rising gas prices, that's even worse. Take a listen.
Ultimately, we and the whole world need to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels altogether. We need to choose long-term security over energy and climate vulnerability. We need to double down on our commitment to clean energy and tackling the climate crisis. Under my plan, which is before the Congress now, we can take advantage of the next generation of electric vehicles that a typical driver will save about $80 a month from not having to pay gas at the pump. If your home is powered by safer, cheaper, cleaner electricity like solar or heat pumps, you can save about $500 a month on average.
What's up with the eyes? You can save $80 a month. All right, if you just go out and buy a $60,000 electric car, and guess what? In 62 years, you can recoup your investment. According to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, it's a small price to pay while the Green New Deal, religious climate cult warriors and her party are out to save the planet. Take a look.
We cannot allow the fossil fuel industry to use this as an excuse to reverse everything we're doing to save the planet. One of the things I think that the president may say, I don't have this as a fact, is that we will use the Defense Production Act to speed up diversification so that we're not so dependent on oil.
Another cognitive train wreck. When you think Democrats can't get any more out of touch with all of this or any more inept, think again. I present to you Vice President Kamala Harris giving a speech about Jamaica. Now, you got to listen to every word to really get this. Pay close attention.
Just as it has been in the United States for Jamaica, one of the issues that has been presented as an issue that is economic in the way of its impact has been the pandemic. So to that end, we are announcing today also that we will assist Jamaica in COVID recovery by assisting in terms of the recovery efforts in Jamaica that have been essential to, I believe, what is necessary to strengthen not only the issue of public health, but also the economy.
I needed an interpreter. Anyway, the midterms are fast approaching. There are no lifelines for this Democratic, radical, new Green Deal Socialist Party. The economy is poised, sadly, to get worse. High gas prices, sadly, they're not going away. War in Europe is raging. Sadly, it doesn't seem to be coming to an end soon. Our southern border, take a look. It's now bracing for another massive surge. And yes, violent crime is spiking out of control thanks to Democrats and their defund, dismantle police and no bail insanity. And your president, your vice president, and even your speaker are visibly incompetent. Now, multiple new polls have Biden at all-time lows. And according to MSDNC's Chucky Todd, the Democrats are in for a full shellacking. It's rare that I quote this usual idiot. He got it right for once.
The current round track in our poll, 71%. What's really striking is third straight poll where the direction of the country has been above 70%. Only been one other time we've had that in our poll. It is not a good time. And if you have 71%, forget, look, 65% wrong track is a bad number. 71%, that's why it is in the shellacking category. You've got essentially three numbers here that all point into dangerous territory for the Democrats and the incumbent party. Presidential job rating at 40%, wrong track over 70%, and the Republicans leading in the generic ballot. Not a good time.
None of these Sunday hosts are like, well, the great Tim Russett, and he was great. Now, vote like your country depends on it, because if Democrats maintain power, your life's only going to get worse. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.